Hey guys, Sean here from Momentum, and what we're looking to do is teach you about nutrition with this small series here. Now, if you have any medical conditions, I highly recommend you always speak to your dietitian, but this is just something that's worked for me and or the past clients that I've worked with as well. And I think this line here really summarizes what we're looking to do. So we're not here to give you just the answers and just the results, but we're also here to teach you and work with a methodology that helps you get your result for a continuous amount of time. Will it take you longer to learn? Yes, but you'll benefit in the long term. So when we're looking at today's outline, this is a method and not a process. So what we're looking to do is teach and develop the skill. And when we learn this skill, it prevents you from going over that quick fix because quick fixes don't last. And why are we learning this method and not just going for it? Because everything works until it stops working. And then from there, we need to have some sort of methodology to make sure we can take steps back or develop a strategy moving forward. So it's just like exercise and medication. We don't want to overdose or we don't want to underdose because if we do, we tend to lose the effect of it or things just stop working. So imagine eating too little food or too little calories. Where do we go from there? We need to actually eat more and then reverse from there, but we'll go through with that in the future. So what I really want to go through is just the basics. So all food and nutrition is compounded from four different types of macronutrients. We've got the proteins, the carbohydrates, the fats, and we also have some alcohol as well. And for every gram of each of these macronutrients, you actually get a certain amount of calories out of it. Now, for those of you who don't know, calories are a unit of energy. So when you look at protein and carbohydrates, you actually get 4 calories per gram. Then from fats, you get 9 calories, and then from alcohol, you get 7. We're going to look at some examples of each, and I've tried to choose examples where it's purely made of that construct or of that macronutrient. So for example, we've got protein, which is meat, fish, lentils, and beans. Then from there, we've got carbohydrates, which is bread, wraps, potatoes, rice, and fruit. And then from there, we have fats, which is nuts, oils, and avocados. Now, if you're looking at that as well, you could also put some of the proteins into that fat because not everything's a pure. So we're going to go through that with the activity at the end of this little slideshow here. Now, each of these macronutrients have its own benefits. So for protein, it's really going to help your muscle restoration and some satiety as well. So if you're getting sore from training, you may want to look into that protein intake. But even saying that, if you're not getting as full as you'd like to be from your food, we're looking to your protein intake as well. For carbohydrates, we want to make sure we can also help you with what we call glycogen restoration. So when you do exercise, you burn energy from the muscles where they store carbohydrates, you use that up. You need to make sure to replenish that so that you can keep going, or even saying that just so that you can recover a little bit faster as well. And that works a little bit better with some protein intake too. From there, say if you're exercising and you have 20 minutes before you start, that's when you start to eat something maybe more fast absorbing, and that's a carbohydrate intake. So that helps you with that quick release energy as well. When it comes to fats, we're looking at cell maintenance and restoration. We're also looking at a little bit of satiety, but also gives us a taste as well. So let's make sure we put some of that in. And I don't always tell people to not have any fat in their diet. I tell them to really look into a balance of all three. And we're going to go through that in a moment as well. With alcohol, when it comes to weight loss or performance or anything nutritional sense, I always mention what does it actually do for you? And one thing I always like to mention with people is as simple as it looks like with protein, carbohydrates, fats, and alcohol, it's also about making sure we look after ourselves because we're not robots. We want to make sure that we can look after our emotional state when we're eating as well. But we need to make sure we don't let that overcome and overtake what we have. So let's look at the nutrition and priorities, or this little pyramid that I've made here. This really gives us a good example and a visual representation of where we should put our food and maybe our calories as well. So at the bottom we have our basic requirements, which is our basal metabolic rate, and this is to maintain life and function. And we're going to go through this in a lot more detail in our next series. From there, we look into our total daily energy expenditure, and that's how much energy you require for your daily work. So that could be working out, that could be what you do for a job, and that could be anything else that you have in between as well. Then we start looking into our goal requirements. Are you looking to build muscle? Are you looking to lose fat? Or are you looking just to perform in your sport as well? From there, we have behaviors. I'll put that at the top because I feel like it's quite important to address, but not so important that we prioritize everything around it. So, are you stressed or do you have any social events? And it's always good to make sure we can make some sort of adjustment towards them. Don't let it take over the whole thing. Then the last one is the performance and supplements, which I believe a lot of people tend to prioritize that first as opposed to at the bottom. And that could be things like caffeine, protein powders, branched-chain amino acids, or any other things that you'll see in your typical health stores. And I always tell people make sure you eat a proper diet before we even look into supplements. That was a very quick part of the first episode of this. And in the summary, you should know what the macronutrients are. From there, you should know the caloric values of each macronutrient. And then also saying that you want to know what you need to prioritize. And this activity here will help you with making decisions in the future. So as I mentioned, not all foods are just pure in that one macronutrient. So we've got carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And this little diagram here shows you that many things are actually made of several parts of macros as well. So for example, we've got protein and carbohydrate, we've got Greek yogurt. For carbs and fat, we've got chocolate, we've got fries, we've got ice cream. Then we start looking at proteins and fats. We've got cheese, we've got bacon. All three, well, that tends to be something that you've made as a recipe. So I've just put an example here, a meat pizza, because it's got carbohydrates as base, and then you've got meat on the top of it as well. So what I would highly advise for you guys to do is take this diagram here, grab it on a empty piece of paper and start from there, or even just print this off and start to fill out things that you come across in your daily life, or even things that you could add into your daily rotations to help you with this. Other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the first part of this series. And what we're going to do is release a few more as well. So subscribe to our channel or send us an email or anything along those lines to help us get connected. Thank you.